June 11th, 2026 marked a distinct breaking point for the technology sector. After years of heavy investment and unchecked expansion, the foundation supporting some of our biggest digital institutions finally fractured. Within hours of each other, two massive stories hit the wire. Microsoft's trillion-dollar Xbox division announced a devastating wave of layoffs and studio closures. Meanwhile, a hacking group known as Shiny Hunters successfully breached the networks of over 100 universities and educational organizations. These events seem disconnected: a video game giant bleeding money and a massive network of universities losing their data. Yet they occurred simultaneously, exposing a shared vulnerability in organizations we assumed were invincible. The common thread is a systemic reliance on overextension and the accumulation of technical debt. Both sectors prioritized immediate, outward growth while allowing their foundational architecture to rot from the inside. The era of endless corporate spending and ignoring back-end infrastructure has concluded. The bill for all that unsustainable tech has finally arrived, and the cost is staggering. To understand the collapse at Xbox, we have to look at the sheer width of their modern strategy. Over the last few years, they tried to dominate cloud gaming, multi-platform releases, and exclusive blockbusters through a massive subscription service. They expanded everywhere, but lacked a central, profitable focus. This chart visualizes the financial weight of their Game Pass model. That column represents the baseline, the roughly $150 to $300 million required to produce just one single modern AAA game. Now look at the second bar. That represents Xbox's total monthly revenue from its 25 million Game Pass subscribers, bringing in roughly $250 to $375 million a month. When you scale this to their goal of 10 AAA games per year, annual production costs reach up to $3 billion. While their subscriber revenue technically covers that, it leaves a razor-thin margin for marketing, server costs, and global operations. After those expenses, net profit becomes virtually zero. That mathematical trap drove a wave of internal chaos. It led to sudden strategic pivots, like the internal cancellation of a PlayStation port for Gears 5, and the gutting of acclaimed development teams like Tango Gameworks, sacrificed to stabilize a business model that produces no real profit. Sacrificing top-tier studios to chase short-term profitability proves that the strategy is at a dead end. Building a business entirely around an expensive subscription service, subsidized by massive exclusive games, creates a cycle of debt that cannot be sustained. While Microsoft was sinking under financial overextension, higher education was collapsing under technical debt. Shiny Hunters compromised over 100 organizations by exploiting a specific piece of software, Oracle PeopleSoft.
PeopleSoft is a legacy enterprise resource planning system used to manage HR, payroll, and student records. The core of this system dates back to the 1990s, yet modern universities still desperately rely on these aging servers to function. This creates a dangerous imbalance. These institutions are hoarding massive amounts of sensitive user data, but they are doing so while maintaining a minimal security budget. The breach at the University of Nottingham relied on unpatched software vulnerabilities and default administrative passwords, basic security oversights that provided direct access to the network. Because of those open doors, millions of highly sensitive records are now circulating among cybercriminals. We're talking about stolen social security numbers, complete financial histories, and heavily guarded academic research. By clinging to outdated infrastructure to save money, these institutions accumulated a fatal level of technical debt. They tried to run modern, data-heavy organizations on a 1990s foundation, and the resulting breach cost them their security entirely. There is a working alternative to this industry-wide bloat. While Microsoft and universities collapse under their own weight, companies like Nintendo and Capcom are thriving by running lean operations and enforcing strict corporate sustainability. Look at Capcom's marketing for Resident Evil Veronica. They released a trailer using a first-person perspective as an artistic misdirect, creating tension and confusion that mimicked the game's atmosphere without showing a second of expensive gameplay. That move sparked massive online debate and generated millions of dollars in free advertising through pure speculation.
Capcom then confirmed the game would retain the traditional third-person experience fans actually wanted, turning that free hype into immediate positive sentiment. Nintendo is employing a similar strategy of low-risk, high-loyalty tactics.
For their Switch 2 launch, rather than requiring customers to repurchase their library at full price, they offered a $9.99 upgrade path for titles like the Xenoblade Chronicles trilogy. Instead of buying up massive studios, Nintendo is cultivating a steady, reliable ecosystem of exclusives. They evolved the existing game Ninjala 2 into a fresh open-world format and introduced targeted co-op experiences like Orbitals. These companies prove that longevity in the modern tech landscape doesn't require endless, unsustainable spending. It requires targeted value, low organizational bloat, and smart marketing. The old mentality of avoiding foundational updates is failing. Massive institutions are now being forced into brutal operational corrections just to survive the pressure. For corporations, the path forward requires aggressive cost-cutting. It means abandoning walled garden exclusives to sell products on multiple platforms, and spending the money to finally migrate their outdated databases to modern cloud architectures. For the rest of us, it means expecting fewer massive financial risks in our entertainment. Most importantly, you need to lock down your personal data today, because the institutions currently holding our digital lives are far more fragile than they appear.